Heinrich Müller was one of the most powerful men in Nazi Germany, head of the Gestapo, and present in Hitler's bunker until the very end. Then in May 1945, he disappeared. No remains were found. No verified sightings emerged. For 80 years, intelligence agencies and historians have searched for answers to one question: how does a man this powerful simply vanish? Heinrich Müller was born on April 28, 1900 in Munich, the capital of Bavaria. At age 17, before the start of the First World War, he completed an apprenticeship as an aircraft mechanic. In 1917, as the war entered its final phase, he joined the Royal Bavarian Army, serving in the Luftstreitkräfte as a pilot for an artillery spotting unit, receiving several decorations for bravery. After Germany's defeat in November 1918, Müller returned to a nation shaken by revolution. Bavaria was one of the most unstable regions. Left-wing uprisings in Munich created a brief Bavarian Soviet Republic, and counterforces battled for control throughout 1919. Müller joined the Munich police during this period, serving in the political branch. He took part in quelling several uprisings, earning a reputation for reliability. His reports were clear, structured, and free of personal language. Senior officers noted that he followed orders without hesitation, a trait that helped him advance. By the early 1920s, Müller was part of the Bavarian State Police. His daily work involved monitoring political groups across Munich. This included early contact with the Nazi Party. Müller was present during the aftermath of the Beer Hall Putsch in November 1923, when Adolf Hitler and his followers tried to seize power. Although Müller was firmly anti-communist, he kept a professional distance from all political movements, including the Nazis. His reports from the time show no personal sympathy for them. Instead, he focused on identifying threats and enforcing state security. Throughout the late 1920s, Müller's career in the political police deepened. He specialized in surveillance, interrogation, and the analysis of political threats. His superiors valued his administrative skills. He understood filing systems, cross-referenced documents accurately, and maintained strict control over information. The turning point came in January 1933, when Hitler became Chancellor. Soon after, Hermann Göring reorganized the Prussian police and created a new political force, the Geheimstaatspolizei, or Gestapo. Müller was recruited due to his experience in Munich and his strong record against communist groups. He moved to Berlin and joined the organization during its earliest phase. His precise reporting and ability to manage large intelligence files quickly made him stand out. By the mid-1930s, Müller caught the attention of rising security leaders, including Reinhard Heydrich, who was building the Sicherheitsdienst (SD). Heydrich valued Müller's methodical approach and placed him in positions that demanded strict administrative control. Müller joined the SS in 1934 and became a dependable figure within Berlin's expanding security network. By 1938, he had earned a reputation as one of the most capable administrators in the German political police. When World War II erupted in September 1939, Müller became one of the most powerful officials in Nazi Germany's security system. That year, he was appointed to the head of Amt IV, the division of the Reich Main Security Office responsible for the Gestapo. The RSHA combined intelligence, policing, and administrative oversight into one structure. From the RSHA headquarters in Berlin, Müller coordinated the daily work of thousands of officers. His responsibilities ranged from reviewing intelligence reports to directing investigations across occupied Europe. His command of information made him central to the regime's internal security operations. As the war expanded, so did Müller's responsibilities. He oversaw investigations into opposition networks, resistance groups, and individuals considered a threat by the Nazi leadership. His department monitored occupied territories, coordinated with field offices, and reviewed information from the Abwehr, Sicherheitsdienst, and foreign police agencies. Müller was deeply involved in the machinery of repression inside Germany, particularly against those accused of treason or espionage. Relations within the security apparatus were often tense. Müller respected Heydrich, but often clashed with Heinrich Himmler, who preferred loyalty and ideological commitment over Müller's bureaucratic strictness. Müller's lack of ideological enthusiasm made some leaders distrust him, yet his efficiency kept him indispensable. After Heydrich's death in June 1942, Müller worked under Ernst Kaltenbrunner, the new head of the RSHA. One of Müller's most visible roles came after the July 20, 1944 attempt on Hitler's life, when officers led by Klaus von Stauffenberg tried to kill the dictator at the ller. Müller was tasked with identifying and tracking down the conspirators. His office coordinated interrogations, arrests, and the rapid investigation that followed. His work contributed to the collapse of the resistance network and the arrest of thousands of individuals. His control over information made him one of the most informed men in Nazi Germany. By 1945, Müller had become essential to the collapsing regime's efforts to maintain order. As Berlin braced for the advancing Soviet forces, Müller continued to direct his department from within the capital. His final months in office would lead him to Hitler's bunker and into the mystery that still surrounds his fate. By April 1945, Berlin was collapsing under the weight of the Soviet advance. Government agencies evacuated, but Müller stayed in the capital. As head of the Gestapo, he believed his place was near the center of power. In mid-April, he moved into the Führerbunker complex beneath the Reich Chancellery. One of his last documented tasks was the interrogation of Hermann Fegelein, Himmler's SS liaison officer, after news emerged that Himmler had tried to open peace talks with the Western Allies behind Hitler's back. Fegelein was questioned in a cellar near the bunker and later shot after Hitler stripped Himmler of all his posts. The episode underlined how deeply Müller was still involved in internal security, even as the regime was collapsing. Müller worked from the smaller administrative rooms off the main corridor. His role in the bunker focused on internal security, intelligence updates, and protection of sensitive records. Every morning, he reviewed intercepted communications, troop reports, and the status of Berlin's defenses. Hitler's secretary, Traudl Junge, later recalled seeing Müller on April 22nd and noted that he had effectively taken over some of Ernst Kaltenbrunner's duties as head of the RSHA. Junge and bunker telephone operator Rochus Mich both remembered seeing Müller again on April 30th, the day Hitler took his own life. During these days, Müller had frequent contact with Wilhelm Mohnke, who served as the bunker's military commander. Müller also interacted with Martin Bormann, who relied on him for security assessments. According to post-war testimonies, Müller briefed Josef Goebbels on the state of resistance groups, fearing that opposition networks might try to exploit the chaos. He also mentioned the loyalty of remaining personnel, concerned about desertions as the situation worsened. Several bunker survivors later mentioned Müller's calm, almost detached demeanor. He kept his uniform neat, maintained a strict office routine, and carried folders between meetings as if the government was still functioning. His authority came not from rank but from the vast amount of information he controlled. In a system built on secrecy, Müller understood the scale of what he knew and the danger it posed after the war. The last reliable sighting of Müller occurred on May 1, 1945. Witnesses placed him still inside the bunker complex that afternoon. After that point, accounts diverge. Some state that he left toward the Reich Chancellery Gardens. Others claim he moved into the adjacent shelter. A few witnesses suggested he inspected bodies near the exit, though these statements are inconsistent. No confirmed document places Müller outside the bunker after May 1st. In a place where dozens of senior figures died, surrendered, or escaped, Müller simply vanished. When the war ended in May 1945, Allied intelligence agencies expected that Heinrich Müller would be among the top Nazi officials brought into custody. As head of the Gestapo, he possessed knowledge of internal security operations, foreign intelligence contacts, and the regime's most sensitive files. Yet he was not found among the prisoners taken in Berlin, nor was his name on any Soviet lists. Within weeks, both the US Counterintelligence Corps and the Soviet NKVD launched independent searches. Early leads pointed in several directions. In the summer of 1945, some German prisoners told US investigators that Müller had been seen dead near the Reich Chancellery. Others insisted that he had been taken by Soviet troops. American officers searched hospitals, morgues, and detention centers across Berlin, but found no confirmed match. The search was complicated by the fact that Heinrich Müller was a common name, and there were even 2 SS generals with that name. The Soviets offered no clear information. They claimed Müller was not in their custody, but Western agencies doubted this. In the late 1940s, the Counterintelligence Corps and its successor agencies widened the hunt. They checked former Gestapo officers, searched the home of Müller's wartime mistress, Anna Schmidt, and gathered reports from across occupied Europe. With the onset of the Cold War, priorities shifted. By the early 1950s, many officials quietly assumed Müller was dead, even as his name continued to appear in war crimes files. The mystery, however, did not disappear. Former SS officer Walter Schellenberg later claimed Müller had defected to the Soviet Union and had been seen in Moscow in 1948, though he offered no verifiable details. During the 1960s, new rumors surfaced. The capture of Adolf Eichmann in 1960 renewed interest, and Eichmann told his Israeli interrogators he believed Müller was still alive. In 1961, Polish defector Mikhail Goleniewski reported that Soviet superiors had told him Müller had been picked up and taken to Moscow around 1950-52, but the US investigators were unable to confirm his story. West German authorities also pursued more concrete leads. They investigated reports that Müller's body had been found and buried shortly after the fall of Berlin. One account came from Walter Lüders, who said that he had helped bury an SS general's body with Heinrich Müller's papers in a grave at the old Jewish cemetery on Große Hamburger Straße. In 1963, a grave at that site was examined, but the remains were mixed and inconclusive. Later claims placed Müller in cities as far away as Czechoslovakia, Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, and even Panama, where a man named Francis Willard Keith was briefly suspected of being Müller until fingerprint evidence cleared him. In 2001, the United States released the CIA's Müller file under the Freedom of Information Act. The documents showed that American agencies had searched for him for years, but never found a trace. The US National Archives later concluded that the file was clear on one point: the CIA and its predecessors never made contact with Müller after the war. The report noted that there were strong indications but no proof that he died in Berlin, and equally strong indications but no proof that he might have been used by Soviet intelligence. Müller's disappearance stands out because he held one of the highest security positions in the Nazi state. In a city where thousands died and many escaped, he remains the one figure for whom there is no confirmed ending. His fate continues to challenge historians and intelligence experts alike. If you found this video insightful, watch Hans Kammler, the SS engineer who vanished after the war, next. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more history inside. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.